Catherine, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ethan, thank you very much for having me on your show.
It's great to talk to you because this is a big issue. I have been arguing for a long time here in the state of California. Governor Jerry Brown, during the budget crunch, 7 years ago, basically cut out vocational training. And here it's all about, hey, you got to go to a 4-year college, which is getting really, really, really expensive, even for the public schools now. So there are a lot of questions sitting out there, and there's articles on what's happening. But I want to get to the heart of this. I mean, are we putting too much focus on 4-year college for everybody?
Yes, I think we are. I think that especially in the day of $1.4 trillion in student debt, I think we are indeed putting a little bit too much emphasis on college. I think everyone, hopefully, will someday get to have a college degree, but I think that many students are, one, possibly not mature enough to go directly to college when they finish high school, and two, can't afford it. So therefore, going to a vocational training program and getting a skill, or doing on-the-job training and getting a skill, will allow them to make money and then go to college, maybe work while they go to college, but work at something that they can get a decent wage.
And to reinforce what you're saying, I mean, vocational education, we have 5 million unfilled jobs in the United States, 3 million unfilled blue-collar jobs in the United States. And kind of to your point, I have a friend who wrote a book. He's very successful. He became a chimney sweep and has more than 7-figure business as a chimney sweep, and is now franchising his business out without a college degree.
Right. And there are, my plumber, for instance, has a philosophy degree, but he's been a plumber far longer than he went to college. I mean, he was doing that before he went to college. Yeah. So, that's kind of the way I look at it, is that we desperately need skilled workers in the workforce. And these are people that are not necessarily needing a college degree and can easily get a certificate in whatever it is they're doing, or an apprenticeship with an entity to learn the skill. And I think that really is a route that a lot of young people need to look at.
So what are, how do we determine this? As parents, we're supposed to help guide our kids, right? I'm not going to make the decision for them, but I want to guide them. How do we determine, how do we kind of look in ourselves? What kind of questions should we be asking? How do we look at our children? Because I think that, especially here in the Bay Area, I think there's a stigma for some people about not going to college.
Well, I think, first of all, the number one thing parents need to do is they need to have a heart-to-heart with their kids about the financial picture, about how much college costs, and how student debt is not a good thing, especially if you're looking at what kind of major do you think you might want to do, like a person who wants to be a school teacher. Teachers, unfortunately, do not make a lot of money. It is crazy to think that a student is going to take out loans to go to college to be a school teacher, because they won't make enough money to pay back their loans and to live like a normal kid should live, which is you get your apartment, you fall in love, you get married, you buy a house. These kids aren't going to be able to do that. And you can see it in the millennials right now, that there are a lot of those students who are having to move back home and delay growing up, delay being fully functioning adults, because they've got student debt and they have low-wage jobs and they can't get ahead.
Well, at least here in California, you have to have a 4-year degree, though, to become a teacher, and we need more teachers. So I hope people get their but you have to be honest with yourself about it, right? It's not a career that's going to be a huge wage earner.
But you can go to, instead of going to a very elite school like a Claremont College to get your degree and then a teaching certificate, you can go to a state university, and it's a lot cheaper. Or you can do the first 2 years get an associate's degree at a community college and transfer into a state school. There are lots of ways to get a college degree without going into significant debt. And I think what happens is that kids hear the message, you need to go to a named school, and they don't hear the message, it doesn't matter where you go, it's when you're there. And I think that is one of the biggest problems we have. Colleges don't have skin in the game when it comes to helping students deal with financial aid and financial debt. They don't help them understand that this, you do have to pay this back, and you need to be very careful on how you spend your money while you're in college.
Yeah. Catherine Mars, a certified educational consultant, is joining me on the phone. Well, Catherine, and more importantly about that debt is, unlike other debts, even bankruptcy can't wipe it out. Your college debt, you will have to pay back, period. I mean, there are even court cases now where they can go, even after you die, they can go after your estate and your heirs to get the money. I mean, it's you will
Absolutely.
pay back your college debt.
Right. And I just don't think that there's enough educating of young people about how to manage money, about what the student loan issue is and what is an interest rate and what that means, and whether it's a Stafford unsubsidized or a Stafford federal loan that is subsidized. If it's unsubsidized, the interest is being incurred as they're in school. And a subsidized Stafford loan is one that the Department of Education will pay the interest, but at the end of 4 years, it's on you. And these kids that go to college and end up taking 5 years to go to college, that's, if they had any kind of merit aid or anything, it's good for 4 years, not 5. So all of a sudden, they're going to be stuck with having to borrow money to pay for that 5th year. Well, that's not good either. So I have a real problem with kids taking on debt if they are not sure what they're going to do, or if they're thinking they're going to be a liberal arts kid and get a degree in history or English. They really need to try to get some skills while they're in college, either through the Career Center or through some sort of summer jobs that they can learn something on, so that when they graduate, they can hopefully get a job that's higher paid than minimum wage.
Yeah, that is a great point. By the way, you brought up something, Catherine Mars, about debt and the $1.4 trillion. Did I hear that student loan interest rates are going up?
Yes, they are. As a matter of fact, they're going up 0.75%, which doesn't sound like a whole lot. But when you think about a kid who's borrowing money, that could be, as much as $2,500 over 4 years. So, and it doesn't affect kids who have loans now, but it does affect kids who are going to borrow money for the fall of this year, fall 17, entering freshmen, and for kids in future classes like the fall of 18 and 19. So it is significant. It may only feel like $8 a month, $8 to $12, but that still adds up.
Right, and it compounds as well. So, I mean, that just builds and builds. And if you ever fall behind or you have to extend the payments, and it's something that needs to be considered. And I love that you brought up, because I did some of this myself. Go to a community. I mean, if you're going to get the 4-year degree, leverage, especially here in California, we have amazing, really, I'm not kidding you, some of the best in the country, community colleges,
Absolutely.
highly rated. And it's so much less expensive to do that first.
And students don't realize that if they go to a community college, in many states, like here in Texas, we have relationships. The community colleges have relationships with 4-year universities that are in their area, that if they make a certain grade point average and they get their associate's degree, they can automatically matriculate over to the 4-year college without a lot of hoopla. They have to apply, but they can easily transfer. And that's what kids need to realize is, don't go to a community college with the mindset that you're only going to take like 30 credit hours and get 2 semesters out of the way so it's cheaper and then transfer. It doesn't work that way, because colleges will look at the transcript and they'll go, oh, well, your English 101 class at the community college doesn't match our 101 English class, therefore you have to repeat it. Well, that defeats the purpose of having done that. So if you get an associate's degree at these community colleges and then transfer with 2 years under your belt and having a good grade point average, then the colleges will accept the associate's degree and not look at the individual classes you took.
Right. And it's just always important to do that homework. So if you're going to transfer to Berkeley, make sure that
Right.
that your community college is good, and just do your homework. I mean, it's like anything else. Check ahead of time, and you'll find that out. Look, this is a really important topic, and I think it affects so many people that are listening right now, and I appreciate your time. Catherine Mars, certified educational consultant specializing in college admissions, and you can learn more from Catherine at Mars with 2 R's, CAA.com. Catherine, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Ethan.